Welcome to the Scene Snobs podcast.
I forgot to take that off!
Hey, there we are! Welcome, everyone!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Scene Snobs podcast. It's Tuesday night, and it feels all right. And Casey, why does it feel all right?
Because it's the 2-2-2-2-2 Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
That's right. It is 2/22/22. We did not rehearse that, as you can tell, because we didn't do it.
No, we didn't do that. We just talked to each other. And
that's my
made
fault.
It happen telepathically.
No, that's my fault, though, because I am a terrible producer at relaying messages.
All right, we're going to get this telepathic thing down. I think that's the whole focus of this.
It's closer.
We're getting there. We're honing it.
It's closer and closer every week. It feels like yeah, we know how to finish each other's
sandwiches.
100%.
Yes.
AJ joins us. What's up, AJ?
What's up,
Thank you for joining in. McManhattan and Casey Brock. I love it.
Oh, yeah. I got just enough bitterness that I could pull off. I don't know who I'm bitter at, but I could definitely point it somewhere.
Hope it's not me, because I don't want to get eaten.
You're good, buddy. Don't worry.
Very excited.
I would not like to eat you.
You know what's very cool about that? More and more is coming about Thor: Love and Thunder, and AJ brought up a good point on the Discord earlier. I actually don't think it was the Discord. I think it was TikTok, but because I want people to join the Discord, I'm going to say it was. So he brought it up on the Discord earlier that Thor: Love and Thunder, because Gore the God Butcher is the bad guy played by Christian Bale in that movie, and he wields the black sword, not the black sword that
Kit Harington has.
Kit Harington, right. Black Knight has.
That's Black Knight sword.
He wields another black sword that was made by the first ever symbiote.
Ooh. Oh, so, the King in Black?
What's his Null. Null is his name.
Null.
He made it. So there's a lot of talk because of that in the comics, that introduced Null into where we're at and his lore. So who knows?
The Shadow knows.
It kind of feels like maybe they're building up, and I'm very excited for that.
Sounds rad.
So we do have a special guest tonight. Before we get to him, we are going to... yeah, I am too. I love when Alex is on the show.
Love Alex.
Yeah. Alex Orphanos, or Alex Orphanos.
Oh, terrible.
That's right. He's got that gauntlet. I know it somewhere. He'll be joining us. He's from the Today in Space podcast. So if you guys haven't checked it out, literally when there's a space launch and my family and I are watching it, we watch on YouTube and we watch Today in Space.
Same. Ever since I think it was 2 years ago when we got introduced to him, I started immediately. Was like, oh, every time.
He's so good at it, and he's so smart and talented behind the mic because he's soft spoken and he's so knowledgeable. Like, not like us, like where we trip up all the time.
Miserable over here.
It is kind of miserable sometimes. Not when I'm talking to you, but just like, oh man, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just gonna say things.
Words and stuff.
I think that was funny. I'll make a clip out of it. And then like there's 90 other minutes where it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing.
What is happening?
But before we get to Alex and bring him on the show, because we have very awesome topics to talk about tonight, I want to say hi to Corinne.
Hi, Corinne. And Shabba.
And Shabba, thank you for joining us, guys. We always appreciate you. Everybody.
Did we say hi to Dan, who was first?
Yes. Mr. Dan Gow, who's supposed to be... Oh, no, he was on the show last week. Tim was on the show.
Palantines.
Tim and Dan are brothers. And they're snobs through and through. I think at this point we got to give them honorary snobs.
They're in.
They're pretty good. And my group texts with them are always a hoot and a riot. So no, we are having a good time, and we want to say thank you to everybody who's watching live, who joins in, and everybody who listens after, because I do get your messages. I do see your comments, and I truly appreciate it. And the number's been growing and growing, and we really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
One of the absolute joys of a podcast, being able to listen to it whenever you want. But we also love having you here live because it's great to interact with you.
But before, and Casey said it, that's why I let Casey just talk, because he says it perfectly. But so 493 is the number on YouTube we're at. We're trying to get to 1,000. We need 7 more to get to 500, and then we're going to do the giveaway for the Mandalorian Pop. So make sure you help us get there. If you're watching new or you're listening, head over to YouTube. Make sure you add us because we have tons of great more content that isn't podcast.
Exactly. Check it out and subscribe. There's so many things to do and to fill your entire day with the snobs.
Absolutely. And for everybody listening, you're not going to see this, but if you follow us on any one of our social media, you will see it. We want to thank our patrons for their support, their love, appreciation. They always take care of us, and they're always there for us. So we try to do as much as we can, early access, do extra videos, things like that, and just other stuff, whatever we can do. But we do a monthly prize giveaway, and every month one of our lucky patrons wins a prize. And this month, I'm happy to announce on Tuesday. Boom. We got it there, man. That was perfect.
Nailed it.
Is Mr. AJ Zyla.
Woo, woo, woo.
AJ is taking home this 22x34 Infinity Saga poster.
I'd say 22 in there.
Absolutely. Yep. There you go. Boom. I didn't even plan that. I'm just that good. And he will also be taking home, because it is Black History Month and it's very important, this T'Challa Black Panther pop was chosen. And appreciate. I hope you appreciate. I hope you know we appreciate you. That's what I meant to say, AJ.
There it is. You better appreciate us, AJ.
And that is. Let me tell you something, brother.
Come here, brother.
Let's just. What was it? The Mega Powers. Let's just talk like the Mega Powers the entire time, Alex.
Oh God, it'd be terrible. No one will want to listen to that.
No, he would be the smart one, and we would just be like, "So what you're telling me, brother, is." All right,
we'll get there.
That is en route to you, AJ. But we've made the man wait long enough, and I want to bring him on because I miss his face.
Absolutely.
And that is our good buddy, Alex Orphanos. I'm going to call you that from now on, buddy.
It's terrifying.
What's up, everybody? Greetings.
Alex, what's up, buddy?
Greetings from another dimension.
It looks awesome wherever you are. If that is...
Thank you.
What is that? Is that a hoodie?
This is a Starman hoodie. So this is what the SpaceX astronauts wear.
Yeah.
And next to me, I have my 3D printed helmet, which is in shambles right now, but it is pretty
But it's
cool.
amazing.
It is pretty cool. Yeah.
That is radical, dude. Oh, gosh. I can't wait for a couple weeks for you to just be totally decked out, ready to roll.
Oh, man. Oh, I wish. This project's been on my bench for a while. But
I am so excited to have you here, man. And
it's good to be here, guys.
Not just talk about space, not talk about your show, which we're going to do first. I want to talk about that before we get started. But also because Alex has been on the show quite a few times already. He's a snob. He's part of the snob family for
snob
sure.
Through and through.
And he's definitely the smartest snob.
Oh yeah.
Him and Dan, I would say, because Casey is super smart too.
I have random things. That's not smart. That's just stuff got stuck in my brain. That's all it is.
All right. Here's the thing. I have a spaceship ready to go for whenever the world's about to end. Alex built it with his 3D printer.
That's right.
True story. I'm sticking by it. It's called the Snobs Nation. And if you're part of the Discord, you get to go.
That is
join the Discord.
Get on that Discord because you're going to need to ride that rocket, y'all.
But if you're part of the
not
Patreon,
sexual.
If you're part of the Patreon, we'll have fuel.
That's important.
It don't run on water, everybody.
Oh, man.
Actually, that is part of the fuel.
Uh-oh. I don't know how fuel works. Ask Alex. What are you talking to me for?
Gas and stuff, man.
He knows how it works.
Yeah, I mean, gas is going to be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
So sign up for the Discord, Patreon, all that stuff.
Exactly, so we can cover those Swedish price on gas.
It's like Don't Look Up, but we're just sitting on you're sitting in like a Mazda Miata, and because that's what it is. That's what I have right now. And it's not even mine.
Somewhere. Gotta start somewhere.
Exactly.
We'll build it into something. I want one of those big raft shifts that they had in 2012 or whatever that movie was.
Oh yeah.
That was true. That was a documentary.
That was a terrible movie. I don't want to talk about it. I don't know why you just. That's terrifying.
Fair enough. Woody Harrelson was great. Come on. All right, Alex. Thank you for joining in, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I want you to tell us about Today in Space. But well, don't tell us. Tell them because I know about this podcast.
Sure. Thank you. So, guys, Today in Space podcast. It's a space science podcast about all things space. So I give you a backstory on me. I went to school for aerospace engineering because I did some survey online and for going to college, and they were like, I saw a picture of a shuttle. I was like, oh shoot, I want to do that. Let me go after it. Shuttle retires on my way to getting my degree. I struggle a lot through going through school. A lot of what I talk about on the podcast is like me learning how to learn. Like that's why you guys think I'm smart. People that went to college with me would not think I'm smart.
Yeah, but you succeeded. See, that's the key. You got through.
And I do have, because it is now a trophy of mine, my degree back there. Not to show off, but to basically be like, yeah. I got it.
No, Alex, you absolutely show off. You brush your shoulders off. You just show the world, my friend. Strut. Peacock that shit.
That's right. Now my camera's all messed up. But that is where I come from. And so a lot of what I talk about is what I'm interested in. So a lot of space stuff, obviously. And I work in 3D printing. I have my own 3D printing business. It's our lab where we get to bring all of our ideas to the podcast. Carl Sagan had like a whole studio of people making stuff for him. So what we get to do with 3D printers is like, just think of it, print it, make it. It's here for the podcast and we get to talk about stuff. So I'm an engineer. I like to build things. I like to break things and build them back together. And that's where I come from. And Today in Space, if you want to keep in touch with all the crazy stuff that's happening, like we're going to talk about movies that are going to be filmed in space, and don't want to jump on that line, but like there's a ton of stuff going on. And if you have any questions, I'm here for you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
100%. We appreciate you being on.
Absolutely. I always love it, man.
Truly. And, I'm keeping you up there because I don't want the Scene Snobs thing to get in the way of you.
No worries. This is perfect.
Keep
the way my camera's set up, it's like I'm looking at you guys. It's perfect. Produce it. It's good.
I will tell you, we're going to get into the movies in space. One thing I did want to talk about, and it just came out today, is that so we all know that Star Trek 4 was announced with the JJ universe last week, and we were all excited.
Yeah.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
But it just found out today that most of the cast had no idea.
Oh my God. What?
It was announced without talking to the cast, and now they've started their they've started their negotiations.
Oh wow.
With Chris Pine, who's the linchpin. He has to come back or
I don't know. I'd be fine with just Bones. Let's just follow McCoy and just being a salty bastard. I love it. He's so good.
Yeah, turn down your volume just a little bit on the computer. If possible. How is it? Ooh, better? I got it.
Better?
What's happening here?
Huh?
I don't know what's happening.
I have
time vortex.
It's
Tuesday.
Two.
It's Tuesday, yeah. So we're superstition and be damned. We're gonna get through this.
That's all right. Did anyone do Taco Tuesday? This is the ultimate Taco Tuesday, man.
I have not. I haven't had a chance to.
Oh,
I mean, I might. I have a fake one here.
Oh, that counts. I think that counts.
Oh,
I think
you had that ready, my friend.
Ready.
Oh, yeah. I think once this show's over, I might have to race out and just get something taco-ish.
Yeah. If there's still tacos, any taco place open, go get a taco. It's the best.
There's only one.
It's true.
There's only one. Oh, the fourth meal. I don't know about that. I don't know if I can handle that. I'm a big guy, but my stomach is these days. It's like, nah, bro.
I hear you.
Too old for it now. That combination of that and Mountain Dew just ain't happening anymore. 23-year-old me sad that got retired.
Yeah, that's fair. Going back to Star Trek real quick, I want to ask you guys, where do we take Star Trek from here? What happens? Do we go with Tarantino's idea?
Alex, what you got?
Well, I mean, have you guys been following the TV series, the reboot for Discovery and Picard?
Love Discovery.
I've been following Picard. I have not. I tapped out of Discovery.
Discovery was amazing. I love what they've done, how they've moved the Federation forward, how now they're rebuilding. It's just been glorious.
I've been really enjoying both the series. Discovery, I didn't realize that the latest season was out. I just found out the other day, so I have to catch up on that. But just slip through. But Picard is coming out soon. So I'm excited for both of those. I like the idea that Discovery gets to do like the reboot timeline thing in their own. Like they've just gone quantum. Like they could take the time theory and bend it any way they want to fit the series. So that's cool. I think we've talked about this before. I think Star Trek has like the most unified of the side. Like if you had to compare it to Star Wars, like of all the content that Star Trek puts out, it's all high quality. Star Wars, there's some great stuff, but there's some stuff that's like,
stuff misses the mark. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing the variations.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. So I don't know. I think they could do a lot with time.
So you think there will be a time travel element to JJ's? Because I mean, there has been. So I mean, it's already been introduced. But
well, it's interesting. Like, is Kirk going to die in this episode?
I hope not.
I mean, is it going to be like Kirk transferring over to a new captain? Are they going to do that? Because they've kind of been playing with the old timelines and like mixing it in.
Yeah. I from what I understand, if they do that sort of, what was it, yesterday's Enterprise episode, sort of, it's going to be not really yesterday's Enterprise, but go back and like maybe he meets his father.
Ooh. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
I think that's sort of what they were pitching.
Unique to the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'd be curious if they went with like one of the main baddies this time, though, and we actually had him up against some Romulans, of his time, or maybe up against some Klingons of his time. I think that would be neat.
That would be neat.
Yeah. Listen, I think at this point, I'm just excited they're coming back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't matter as long as it's the whole crew. I need my crew, Anton Yelchin, much love, but
R.I.P. I know.
Let's just redo Khan. Let's just do it right this time.
They already did.
No, right the second time.
It was fine.
I didn't hate it. I just I didn't love it. Because the original will always be near.
Yeah. That combo, like, oh man, just the timing of that movie and where all those actors were at that point.
Oh yeah.
It can't beat that.
No. And you definitely can't beat that with Doctor Strange Cumberbatch. Cumberbatch. So, with Star Trek 4, we're going to have to see what they do. JJ supposedly is going to be a big part of it, which scares me because Beyond was my favorite in 3.
That was great.
Yeah, it was a good one.
A lot of people didn't seem to like that one. And I say, damn you all to hell. So I don't really care. Anyway, let's move on. It's Tuesday, 22. We've been talking about it. We're going to talk about twos. We're going to talk about pairs in movies. Who are some great pairs in movies? We're going to talk about number 2 movies and franchises and things like that. I want to hear what you guys have for me. I'm going to start with one of my favorite, and I hate to say it because the first one is on my top 10 list of movies of all time. And number 2 is definitely one of my favorites. And that's RoboCop 2.
Wow.
It's got its issues. It's definitely got its issues.
It's got a few.
That little kid who is basically the mafia boss. Yeah, I get it. I do. But I can deal with that. Because I just have so much fun with it, and you get anti-RoboCop with RoboCop. So, what about you guys? What do you got for me?
First up, Lethal Weapon 2.
Ooh,
it's a good one.
That's the tops.
Great one.
Yeah, cream of the crop right there. One of the best.
Okay, I got one for you guys.
Fire away.
Rush Hour 2.
Really? You like Rush Hour 2 more than one?
Rush Hour 2 had like they the first one, nobody really knew about Rush Hour, and the second one, I felt like they did just as good a job, but they advertised it and branded it better.
Agree.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And Rosalind Sanchez, can't really argue with that.
It's true.
Before Boat Trip too, so it works even better. The movie that killed Cuba Gooding Jr.'s career. So
That was a terrible movie.
So bad. He had to play OJ to wipe the stink off of Boat Trip 2.
Did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he had to play OJ. Like if somebody tells you, listen, you got to make up for this movie, you have to play OJ. That's pretty harsh. No, he did do a great job though.
Yeah.
Back to the Future 2 is great.
Yes.
Yep.
Solid.
And as far as, yeah, I love it. As far as number 2s and trilogies go, in my opinion, it's tops.
Yeah.
Empire was great.
That's a great one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evil
A lot
Dead
of
2.
people would argue that that's not 2 though.
What, the Evil Dead 2?
No, Evil Dead 2 is definitely, well, technically, actually, people could argue that, but I don't think they would. So Army of Darkness, there you go. You got your number 2.
Yes.
So, we got a lot of number 2s. What is it about number 2s that seems so attractive? And I don't mean the shits and giggles. I mean actual number 2 movies. Is it because our characters are well established by this point?
Yeah, we want to see more of the character. We're excited because we've joined with whether it's a relationship or whether it's something about one individual versus another that we want more story from. We're excited to find out what their future holds. So there's hope.
Yeah.
So
Oh, absolutely. This is topical.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 with Dennis Hopper going to bring it all down. It's my favorite in that series. That's for sure.
yeah.
It's because I like the bonkers feel to it. This one I disagree with.
Nope. I
Alien.
totally agree. I love Aliens more than Alien.
But this is the thing. Just because I think, well, no, and I'm not saying your opinion is wrong here. When I say this, I mean, I'm talking from my opinion, which is the only one that matters.
Of course.
I'm kidding.
Oh, I got another one.
What?
Terminator 2.
Nah.
Yes.
I don't know what it is about Alien and Terminator, but I like the first ones more.
I mean, you can't have the second one without the first one. That's for sure.
That's such a cop out.
No, it works.
I mean, that's the math of it. I mean,
I will say,
man.
I don't know what it is, but I like the horror movie vibe of Alien. Because in the second one, yes, there's some it's a horror movie, but more sci-fi action. And that's the same thing with Terminator and Terminator 2. Like, I love the horror movie feel of the first one. And then the second one is just straight up sci-fi action, which is great. And it's a great movie. And it did so much for the industry. But I don't know.
When I first saw those movies, I was all about the sci-fi action. So that was all I wanted was the sci-fi action. Yeah. So the horror stuff, I was like, no, that's a little scary. Not a fan of that. Was it? That's not cool. I lived in a basement. That's where I hung out. That was dark. After you just had a pull chain like chink, and then you're out. You've got to run, make it to the stairs. Like, nothing get me in the darkness. So, horror movies were a little off table for a bit.
All right. I mean, I get that. And when you're young, and those are going to leave the impression. I mean, listen, let's face facts. Like T2, just the T1000 alone has to leave an impression. And there's been no other correct me if I'm wrong, but there's been no other, not alien, like robotic character in a movie that has left such an impression on people.
Johnny Five.
The second one was better on that one too.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, Bonnie Tyler's "I Need a Hero" with him with his punk rock spike mohawk. I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, when he like swings because somehow he just oh my god, and "I Need a Hero" is playing. Oh, it's so bonkers. That whole thing is weird and just. And listen, it used to play on WPIX all the time, so I watched it a lot.
Nice.
But yeah, that it's so cringeworthy with Fisher Stevens playing the
that was
the
terrible.
Indian character. It's
Yeah.
like, come on, man, and he went on to win an Oscar.
What?
About dolphins.
Wow.
I kid you not. It's true.
That's ridiculous.
Popular opinion from AJ, Police Academy 2 is better than the first.
Ooh.
I don't know
Interesting.
if I agree to that. I like Police Academy 2 because it's set up. Like we were talking about. The characters are established, we're good. That first one was so funny. He drives the car into the parking space sideways. He's just like, found a spot.
When he rips out the seat, Hightower destroys the dude's car so he can fit in it.
Was that the first one or was that the fourth?
Pretty sure that was the first one.
I don't remember. There's so many.
I know. There's 6, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I know 4 is my favorite. Citizens on Patrol was amazing.
There's 7 now.
There's 7.
Was there 7?
But one was made like fairly recently.
Oh.
And then if you count Lavalantula and Lavalantula 2 Lava, 2 Lantula.
I do not.
Hey, it stars the Police Academy cast.
It's ridiculous.
Not as the same characters, but it does.
Or what if we just talk about movie titles with the words 2 in it? Like Lock, Stock, and 2 Smoking Barrels.
Great movie.
Right?
Nice.
The Man with 2 Brains.
Ooh.
Oh boy, you have a whole list of these, don't you?
Maybe Bravo 20 with Sean Bean, one where he doesn't die.
2 for the Money.
Oh yeah, see, you're in on it. That was a terrible movie. Don't watch it.
Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yes, 2 Jakes. That's
the 2 Jakes. I didn't even think about that one. That
2 Mules for Sister Sarah.
Alex, come on, get in on this. Let's figure out all the 2s. There's so many.
2 Days in the Valley. Nice, AJ. Good pull.
2 Days in the Valley. You're absolutely right. But all right.
Okay. 2 weeks notice.
Ooh.
That's the last one.
Well, it's kind of a stretch. 28 days later.
There's a 2 in it.
There's a 2.
I'll take it.
In fact, we're going to change the name today. Officially, it's 22 days later. That's it. So, all right.
That's long enough.
Yeah.
We don't need them. You can save 6 days. You're going to die.
You could still be in a coma for 22 days and the world could change. It's possible.
Yeah, why not?
We have our resident spaceman here. And I know nothing about what's like other than the announcements. I don't really know much about what's going on with filming movies in space.
Sure.
And what they could be doing. In fact, I've even heard that they might think about building a studio, like a space station studio.
You heard correctly.
All right. Well, let's get into it. And
sure.
I do have questions from a filmmaking standpoint. I would love to hear what you say.
Absolutely.
But tell us, what do we know so far? How close are we?
So there was already a movie filmed in space. The Russians actually did it.
Life.
Yes. I believe that's it. And so it's not like cameras are a new thing in space. Like NASA's got 4K video that they're streaming now. They finally upgraded their system, so they're actually streaming in 4K into space. So like the technology is there. Like the biggest hurdle is getting it up there. So on the resupply missions, if they had to send up a 4K camera, they could do that. But right now, really the only place would be like the International Space Station, which is old. It's still operational and they're still going to keep it running. Right now they're thinking of opening it up. I think the Biden administration just passed this through, but what they want to do is make it like a commercial station. So basically if people want to go up there and do research, they can keep it running. They can pay for it. The government would basically be getting paid for that. And then I would assume NASA would then use that for some other stuff, but that's the idea. And so a company called Axiom Space is this company that can basically create the situation where they can send people into space. They want to send Tom Cruise into space to film a movie because, of course, who else
why
would
wouldn't
risk
you?
their lives going into space than Tom Cruise? So, so he's going up.
Well, the
Yeah, go
true
ahead.
science that he follows,
Yeah.
he has to know something. That we don't.
He's probably known for a lot longer than all the rest of us.
We're
Yeah.
so glib.
Yep.
Xenu is definitely keeping him protected.
Man, does that guy have energy, man? I don't know. what
That
he's
is such a
taking,
nice
but-
way to say it. He's got some vigor,
Ooh,
a lot of pep.
man.
Well, let me ask you this. So, like you were saying, one of the biggest challenges is getting the camera and the equipment, cameras and equipment up there. So, what was the first year we had cameras in space? Was it? It was 1972, right?
It probably would have been the first time. It would have been the first time that humans went up there. Pretty much, the 60s. It could have been. I don't know the date, but there's probably cameras in the 60s. This is a guess, but I would guess a camera in the 60s, and then for the moon missions, they had
That was
film.
Stanley Kubrick who brought his, right?
I'm not sure.
I'm waiting for Alex to like just throw something at this point. Nobody caught on to it.
I'm in science
No.
mode.
We caught on to it. We
No, you
decided
did.
to
You were taking
ignore
a
it.
drink. It took you a second. When I got to the second part, you were like, "Oh no,"
I did. Yeah. Once you did it, it was like, well, he did it.
because you weren't expecting that in like conspiracy theories. But listen, it works for Joe Rogan.
Hey.
So what are you gonna do?
Hey,
I'm not
Bring
doing
'em.
anything else that works for Joe Rogan now.
That's a poor emulation.
No, I'm more making fun of it. But we have a science guy here. We have a
I'm here.
literal science guy here who
I know.
can explain the right stuff to us. So that's
He's an
what I'm
end guy near.
end guy
An
near.
end guy near. Oh my god.
He got them brain smarts,
So let's have some.
I got something, man. I don't know. Smart. Okay.
tenacity.
Let's have some fun with this one, okay? So
Okay.
now, chances are it's going to be Tom Cruise who does film the first movie in space, unless he dies beforehand doing a stunt. But
Sure.
it's gonna. The reason being is because they're not going to put money into doing something like this unless somebody that big and that invested is willing to step in and be like, "I'll do it. Like, I want this done."
Yeah. And until recently, it was like not a financial thing at all. But with people like, or companies like SpaceX that are now making it so that going to space is cheaper, like that's this thing that has now happened. That's why so many people are interested in going to space. That's why someone like Jared Isaacman, who was one of the guys that helped get that Inspiration 4 mission up to space, like he literally paid for that mission, and now he's helping pay for this series of missions called Polaris. So that's only possible because the price to going to space has dropped. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for these studios, like the studio. It's a UK-based studio, Space Entertainment Enterprise. It's quite the name.
Oh, that's new.
That's,
You know that's
they're
new.
doing porn.
That's
They're
either
doing porn.
really
Come
new.
on.
Or
That's
really
either
old.
really new or established in 1969.
Yeah, it's been waiting this whole time.
Yep. It's done
Finally.
generation to generation.
So like I think that's what we're seeing is like a company like that's going to take this like shot. If they put Tom Cruise in it, they could get enough money to do it. So NASA's been working with them. They've been trying to discuss how you'd film a movie in space. And they've got, if you actually have, I don't know if you can pull up an image, but basically like their plan for Axiom Space is to send up this sphere, basically. It would be inflatable. So you launch it all like packed up and then you blow it up and you would have this sphere that you could make content. So that's what their plan is. So it would be film movies. There's going to be it's supposed to be big enough to have a sports stadium in it. Or no, a sports arena. A sports arena. So like some court of some kind. It's supposed
That's
to.
insane.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
And what if you're
Yeah.
up there filming in space debris, y'all? Like,
Yeah.
that's terrifying.
It's always the case.
I mean, you definitely need some technical consultants up there with you.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I mean, that would have to be this studio. Just to think of what you have to plan for this. Okay, so
Yeah.
on an any day set, you have your producers, you have your director, you have all your above the line crew, which are the ones that kind of plan and plot everything, and then your below the line crew that are implementing pretty much all of it. And then you have your cast, you have, and so on and so forth. So now I'm not thinking like, oh, we're gonna have a 600-person crew with makeup artists and stuff up in space for the very first space movie.
Right.
But going forward and having something like you're talking about with like the Sphere, where it would be big enough to house so many people, we're talking about how much money has to go into this with training the people to be able to go up there to do their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have to have your own sort of mission control down here just for that, and everything else, the grounds crew, stuff like that. Like, because it's probably not going to be through NASA.
Well, it could be through SpaceX, though. It could be through Axiom. So then the studio can kind of go through and utilize those resources. So like people from SpaceX, if it was SpaceX, in this case, I guess Axiom, which is a smaller company. But if the launch company is the one that sends you up, they got you covered. They'll put people on the mission. So there's that possibility. But you're right. It's a lot of money, and like the logistics is not clear. So like,
not at all.
Someone's gonna have to figure it out.
So I mean, chances are, like, we're looking at it from the point of view of Tom Cruise ain't getting up there unless he's like 90, which will still be in the same shape. So.
Well, so they're talking about. So you see that sphere there?
Yeah. That's awesome.
So they would basically send that up to attach to the International Space Station. They're planning on doing that in the next 2 years.
A lot of porn in there.
And that's so take it from a guy who knows nothing, and I truly, truly don't. So
I'm right here.
Shut up. This is big enough to fit like a football field?
I don't know if it'll be football. I'm thinking they said sports arena. So who knows what kind of sport they're talking about? You could
like
probably
a campus
tennis court, maybe.
Or like maybe
maybe
like a campus
court.
gymnasium, a small mid-level
Foursquare.
college. Hopscotch.
Theoretically, you could fit a lot of them on there then, right?
You could. I mean, that sphere. I'm trying to think. Let me do a quick look up here.
Let me just,
okay, so here's the legitimate question. If this one is an actual studio, and that's what they're going for, how long before the porn bubble sphere is up there?
Oh, they've already talked about that.
It's got to be. Like, that's hand in hand, buddy.
Dude,
the entertainment industry rides with
so
porn.
many people. There were 2 stars. I can't remember the name of them. Such is life. But there were 2 porn stars who were straight up like, we want to go to space. We want to shoot a porn, because it was after Tom Cruise was like, I want to shoot a movie in space. They were like, we're getting there first, and we're going to do porn there. Can you imagine? I mean, listen, I'm no layman, all right? I know there's been plenty of in space. Let's be real.
Of course. They admitted to it. They're like, we've studied it, the science of it. This is what it's like.
You really study the science of it?
Of course. Everything you do in space, we have to study. Everything. Science, bro. We got to see what it's doing to your body.
That's fair.
Now, things to consider if we're talking about this topic. So if we talk about the science of things, you're in 0G, basically. Yes. So you're free floating. So all of the things you're using as something to hold on to, or the things you'd be relying on, gravity, for instance, you would not have those things. So the action would be a lot different.
Yeah. It'd be terrifying.
Different. There would be like a certain type of SpaceX.
You'd have to wear your
or harnesses.
Like there's Earth sex, and then there's 0G sex.
Oh my God, it's gonna get great. No, no. Listen, I get it, and I don't want to get into full sex stuff, but like, come on, porn is gonna.
I want to go full sex stuff.
Like, it's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. That's rule number 34. Everything that exists is gonna get a porn. Like,
absolutely.
I mean, if it's connected to the internet, there's no doubt that will be, and it is connected to the internet. So,
and if anyone ever took down the porn from the internet, there would only be one site that said "Bring back the porn." That's it.
That's true. So let me ask you this, Alex. Yeah. So, from a filming a movie standpoint, there's so many movies down here now. I like how I'm talking about, like, down here we do it like this. So up here, listen, they're filming movies on their cell phones. Yeah. So theoretically, we could just send some jackass with a bunch of cell phones up there and be like, all right, get these shots.
Well, and if Tom Cruise doesn't do this, like the other thing that they're pitching this as is a content creator studio. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of these TikTok, we get enough in the Discord and Patreon, you guys could be filming up there. Like literally, if someone wanted to pay for it, they would do it.
Scene Snobs in space.
Scene Snobs in Space coming 2025. It's happening. We need you to sign up for Patreon so we can get the Mazda Miata up there.
The largest tier. Tell all your friends.
Who wants to see the Scene Snobs in Space? Not having sex.
I was going to say, is there an OnlyFans that comes afterwards?
My wife.
Actually, there could be.
We're going to invite somebody for you.
Exactly.
My wife will not. She loves NASA. She loves all things space, but she's not going to space.
Right. I'm selfish over here.
Maybe I'll just send you up and you can make the firstborn.
Done.
I'll be in mission. Oh, I want to get the best.
Do you know how damaged I would be? I'd be bouncing all over the place. Like if it wasn't a solid sphere, if it was just a normal ISS part, they'd be like, somehow there's another puncture in the freaking the side of this capsule. We don't know how it happened. Sorry, guys.
You send back the dailies of your video, and I'm just like, and I'm in my Ed Harris vest while Alex is sitting at the mission control desk, and I'm just like, deflate that globe or sphere. And it's just like we hit one button in case he's like going off into space. It's gravity. It's like George Clooney in Gravity by that point.
You got to turn on the autopilot like an airplane.
I'm gonna fire you off, buddy.
Magical autopilot. It's fine. I'll be in my suit all the time, bro. Don't trust it without that extra layer. Space wants to kill
got
you.
A problem.
Yeah.
What is the over under that if we did go to space in some way, shape, or form, we would paint our suits to look like our favorite space characters?
1000%.
Not even our favorites. Let's be real. Not even a favorite space character.
I'd have the OPA right up on there, brother. You know it. Sasake, I'm saying, bro.
I'm so much going to be an uglier Amos. That's what's going to happen here.
Yes.
Now, with that being said, because I was kind of thinking you'd be Venom, but whatever. Here we go. We're going to get into the MCU.
Okay.
Now, anybody who's watching or listening at a later date, we have an ongoing series throughout the year called Living in the MCU. This is our phase 1. This is where we talk about the everyday lives of people and how they live it within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'm very excited to have Alex here because tonight's topics are going to be space travel, the space programs, and scientific careers within the MCU. How does this work? So, before we get started, let's talk about the parameters a little bit.
Thank you.
We know, so we stick within what we know, what we see, what's feasible within the MCU. So we have to pretend that our world is this world. So we know that Quinjets can go into space to other planets. We know that Tony Stark could fly into space. He's done it. We know that the Chitauri have jet skis that come from space. You know, we have so many things that can open up and show us a new way of space travel. Captain Marvel just having cosmic magic, the whole 9 yards. And I want to talk about here on Earth, how does that affect our space program? Which we know SpaceX is a thing because Elon Musk was an Iron Man too.
It's true.
So I want to see.
I like this. Okay.
How does an everyday person, how do you dream about becoming an astronaut now that you have just super beings in and out of space like it's nothing? Let's start there.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. I mean, so the first thought, which is unfortunate, but I think part of every reality, is that it would be a government operation like SHIELD or something like that. Like it would probably be something where, like the Space Force, there would be like a similar push for that because you'd have to protect us galactically and you need to go out in space. So I could see like a whole other branch if you're going like MCU, like you could go off in the whole Agents of SHIELD aspect and like expand that out. Bunch of Hydra stuff going on.
Well, Sword is a big factor in the MCU, which they introduced.
That's right, MCU. I'm sorry, I'm going into the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. world.
How dare you? No, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does work. We're for all of this, whatever exists right now is what we're going to count as working. As long as it is connected to the MCU. So, Sword was shown at the end of Spider-Man: Far From Home that they built, and they've been talked about, having built a lunar base. So we know they exist.
The other Vision.
Yeah, they do. Well, yeah, they built the other Vision. So they deal with cosmic and otherworldly issues, whereas S.H.I.E.L.D. deals with what's going on the planet. Sword is opening itself up, like it's going to be a big part of the multiverse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is, if you want a scientific job, you're most likely going to have to work with them. So what happens to private companies? Now, we have seen Elon, and SpaceX does exist because it's talked about in Iron Man 2. What is he now? Is he just a contractor at this point? Like he's, I mean, you live in a world with Tony Stark. You're not the smartest guy anymore.
Right.
That's the thing. When you have Tony Stark as your foil or your main guy who's got all this tech and all the advancements, I mean, he alone is responsible for advancing so much in that world.
Yeah. And now you got the Hank Pyms too, which we see it older and they've been around a long time. So, for me, like we see space now. And so many kids grow up, my kids do, they want to be astronauts, and it's such a huge thing. And I think, like, for you, Alex, you can attest to this, like it sparked that passion in you.
Absolutely.
But how does it spark a passion to anybody now, which generally leads to these, leads to getting into this was, for lack of a better term, fields.
So, like, how in the MCU do you, other than being like a superhero, like how do the scientific people have their aspect? Is that kind of
I mean, I'm not saying that you can't just be interested in science. Of course you can, like that's, but like just space travel alone, like if I'm like, hey, I want to be the new Elon Musk and have my own space program and travel to space and do this or do that, and then I'm like, oh, but literally the Hulk flew to a planet in a Quinjet. What am I going to do? Where do I go with this?
I mean, I don't know. There's always something new, right? I mean, all the tech that Tony Stark has, right? Like Tony's always building something new. Like he never stops. It's always trying to develop that. I mean, Tony Stark for me, as an engineer, is probably the most, and not so much like it is about being Iron Man, but it's also about all the things that come around, like all the technology that they have. They were able to, like, he was able to make Thanos bleed in their first real encounter, right? Like that in itself, to me, seems amazing. I wish Pepper Potts had more of an input, because even her perspective too. I mean, she's a great character that I think you can look up to, but you don't get to see a lot of her in the MCU.
No.
Spider-Man too. I mean, Spider-Man's also a scientist. In the MCU, you probably don't really get that much of it, but definitely in the comic book series, you definitely experience that.
Reed Richards.
Yeah.
Well, we got to stick to MCU now because we don't know if and when. I'm sure we know soon enough. Reed Richards growing up. And he in the comics, of course, Reed Richards is like the mecca. He's the smartest person. Hank Pym being a very close second. Basically the entire Illuminati. That's like the smartest.
Yeah, just the Illuminati. Bruce Banner.
It's. But even then, like these are scientists that are limited. Like even like when they were doing a time travel, Bruce Banner's like, this is out of my wheelhouse. Like I don't know this stuff. And I thought that was a lot of fun because up until that point, we got a lot from different MCU characters who were just basically smart because we needed them to be smart. and they knew what they were doing. And that was the first time we really heard somebody being like, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I love, as a friggin' person that works in STEM, that is the most important thing. So the fact that that comes through in the MCU is a credit to the people that made the MCU. Like, it's, it's that is the crux of science. Like, science, you're always going to be one step behind, but it's the going through and figuring it out anyways.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't
all
know
those characters
leads to
do that.
finding the answers, and it's
Yeah,
always great
absolutely.
to have that.
Yeah, you don't have a
So,
superpower, but science can be your superpower. So,
Case, in your opinion, what does the space system, or just this, like that whole thing, like as we know it now, what does it look like in the MCU?
I mean, in the MCU, it's way more advanced because with Tony Stark, a lot of other people, you're going to have all of that Wakanda now opening up and giving some of their stuff. You're going to be traveling.
Oh my God.
More. You're going to more efficiently be going throughout where the stars are accessible.
Yeah.
You can actually open up and venture forth. And now we're going to get even more terrifying things like Galactus, maybe, down the line, or one of these cosmic beings that we saw in the Eternals. That's part of it as well. So it's going to be fascinating to find out. The Eternals who are here with us on Earth are still androids or whatever sort of beings they are. So there's technology and space things affecting us all the time in that world. So I think the draw for me personally would be way more. I would absolutely want to be able to get involved in that. And there are more doors open and available to me.
You know what makes me laugh about it the most when it comes to the MCU is like you get somebody like Peter Quill in the movies and everybody treats him sort of like an idiot. And I'm like, yeah, but if he came to Earth, this dude knows how to pilot a spacecraft. Yeah. And he knows the galaxies.
He knows how to make repairs to his spacecraft. I mean, come on.
Here's a guy who knows way more than pretty much all Americans. I mean, us being the smartest.
Space flight and those things. Yeah, absolutely.
Plotting courses is like way more difficult.
I mean, he's a man-child, but at the same time, like,
definitely
they treat, they treat like all of this, like, especially him, like, okay, because he's a man-child, he's a child. It's like, but if he came to Earth and like you're asking space questions, and you're asking me or you're asking Peter Quill, guess who's getting 100% of those questions wrong? Not Peter Quill, and I'm sort of a man-child myself, but stuff like that, like it makes me think, like in the MCU, like if you're living there, it's like, how much does it have to take its toll? Like, we have sustainable energy thanks to Tony Stark building a reactor or an arc reactor. Oh, did we lose you?
It's my GoPro. Give me a sec. This happened the other day.
No worries, man. So, like, for me, like, coming into it and just thinking about, I'll take you out and I'll bring you back in when you're looking good, sir. Well, he's looking good anyway, but and I'll come back on this end so that way you stay on your side.
There we go.
Like, when I bring side, you just stay on your side, JC. No, when I bring him back in,
stay on your side.
So for me, like, we're talking about the MCU, we're talking about what's going on, and space to me is like, how do I ever feel like I'm going to compete with anyone?
Okay, well, man, you can't look at it as going to compete. You're not trying to compete. You're not going to be Thor. You don't have Mjolnir. You can't wield lightning. Odin isn't your dad. All right, you can't. It's not going to happen. But that's fine. At the same token, you're not going to be Jeff Bezos. So in this world right now, so it's if you're willing to go for it and go after it, you go for it and go after it. And it would be more to want to achieve on the level of Tony Stark, to be admiring and going after him and what he's done in technology in that field for everyone. You want to follow that. That would be a great thing to inspire you.
Yeah.
That competition is what's always fueled that. I mean, Edison and whoever the other guy is, that immigrant.
What competition?
As he was referred to in his time, Nikola Tesla.
Nice.
Man, what a terrible story. Well, no, that's legitimate. When I saw that in the History Channel special, I was like, what? Like, that's disgusting. Like, he died a penniless man because what? Because he couldn't talk good and stuff.
Well, it's not that simple, but yeah. He was definitely taken advantage of. There's
Very
no doubt
much so
about that.
taken advantage
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what fuels brilliance. So, someone will burn somebody else out and we'll have another advancement.
Listen, we got a huge population here, and we need jobs. And considering most of them are taking place in space in the MCU, I feel like there should be free programs to teach people about this.
Absolutely, dude. In high school, they're going to be teaching people about space and how much more you can get involved in. Because at some point, you could be, I don't know, a space construction worker.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. We've seen that.
Sure.
Or, even just a drone pilot.
Well,
actually, you know what? We're getting closer and closer in this MCU. I realize we're damn near Star Trek, y'all. Like, there's no real, economies are getting jacked up. There's less work to do because there's more drones, more automated systems, more AIs.
Well, like, I have to beg the question, like, the deeper we get into this, it's like, can you be normal in the MCU?
What's normal for
right?
the
Like,
MCU?
I feel like we're looking for, like, how do you be normal in the MCU? I don't think you can be.
Yeah, I mean, living in that way, like, you have to adjust. I mean, just think about from 2008 till now, just when, let's say, Iron Man exists, and that's not the first superhero. That's like the first one that really came out and was like huge in the media.
Mm-hmm.
So think about the kids that were born then.
True.
I mean, they already said that Peter Parker was the kid in the Iron Man mask in Iron Man 2. So look where he's at now. He's a man. He's graduated high school. So you can't be normal. And I think that's why what I like about the MCU is, like, especially with Spider-Man, like, there's a science school there. Now there is in the comics too, but I'm just talking about the movie world. There's a science school that actually exists, that it goes above and beyond what we might see from a normal school that specializes in sciences. As a high school, like, that's a big deal. And, like, you're right, you can't be normal. I feel like a Peter Quill, like, he had to learn how to maneuver in space and understand that world, taken as a kid. So I feel like that's what would have to happen for everyone on this planet. Like, we'd have to learn to maneuver.
Yeah, I mean, and not to take it back into the TV series, but that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did that really well. They discussed a lot of those points, like, and even everything with Endgame and all these other series that are coming afterwards here. Like, they do get into, like, everything's become kind of like our world now, like, accelerated and amped up, and everyone is extreme. Like, you can't live in that world and not be extreme, because you're just always being attacked or, like, whatever. And that brings out, survival.
And especially now, post Endgame world, where you do have people who are back from the snap, who are displaced. So much displacement of people in families and just entire societies. Nations have changed. The face of the planet is different now because of this. So it's a fascinating what the new normal is, because obviously you're going to have something set up where people just begin to exist, and what happens to economies there. What becomes the normal.
And the economy wise, we are going to get into, but to think about it from this perspective, how many people do we open up an initiative where we're like, listen, we know other planets exist. Are we going to start shipping people off the planets because of overpopulation? Just be like, all right, we're going to find another planet for you guys to live. Because I feel like the technology definitely exists.
Sure. Yeah, you got shield technology. You could build a, civilization somewhere pretty easily, actually.
Call them generation ships.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yep. Just send them out for a while. Who knows what'll happen? Good luck, everybody.
Although that did not happen with the refugees from what do you call it? Asgard. They came straight to Earth. They're like, listen, we know that you just literally doubled your entire world's population overnight. We're coming to live here. We're going to take a little territory. Just for us. So situations like that, like, it's going to be interesting to see kind of like how things play out. And I wish they would touch down on it a little bit more. Like, what do rockets look like now?
Awesome.
Yeah. Smaller.
From Earth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Screw you, Bezos, with your dick rocket. I got a Milano now. So
Ridiculous.
no.
I wonder, like, what if the satellite systems are that are up there? They've got to be so advanced now. Like we saw Stark, the Stark Industry satellites.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, by Endgame, how many have been like broken down, have been hammered? Like, did he try to reverse engineer? How many bad versions do we have from different nations?
I don't see Tony Stark fixing a lot of things. I see Tony Stark as I'm going to create this, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then I'm going to create something new. Although he does have nanotech, so
I was going to say, yeah, that would just constantly fix it for him.
Yeah. And that would be smart to have that nanotech kind of just running around everywhere and just trying to either fix things or dismantle it on its own. So I wonder if he sold that. Well, he doesn't. That's
an interesting question, right? Like, because Iron Man historically has not given that tech to the government. So, like, in the MCU specifically, it's like an interesting. Did it happen after Pepper Potts? Probably not, right? I wouldn't expect that.
Maybe during an attack, losing a piece somewhere, and
right. It's also weird because it's like even the government, like what we would consider, because like you've got Shield and Sword and stuff like that, like they're the ones making those big decisions. Like the regular politician, the senator, they are not at any power level that they used to be before.
No, they can't.
All of this, right? Like all of that got flatlined as well.
Yep.
I mean, the Shield thing alone is gonna, the Hydra invasion of Shield is going to dismantle governments like insanely, because you're gonna have to root out everybody who was, what Gary Shandling's character was a senator.
Yeah.
And listen, that's not far off from what life is actually like, but in that world, like I gotta imagine like some of these heroes are gonna be like, run. Run or I'm running. But we'll know once Norman Osborn runs for president. That's what we're going to need. We're going to need Willem Dafoe coming back, running for president. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. I'd vote for him today.
God. He's the last of the choices.
Not the least, the last.
The last. But on that note, we discussed space travel. We discussed the space program and what it'll kind of look like. And AJ brings up a good point. Symbiotes will be coming from space. Yep. Kang is pretty smart. But these aren't people I feel like you're going to, or beings that I feel like you're going to learn from. They're not forthright with their knowledge. So I feel like we have to figure out, like, humans really have it, like, to learn here. They have to figure this out because the heroes aren't forthright either. The only one who was Stark. Not Stark, Steve Rogers, and he's gone. So we'll see what happens. But we do know that if anything, it doesn't look good for the space program that doesn't have the name Stark on it, or some other huge, probably villainous character. Maybe Reed Richards. We'll see. That's to be named. Well,
he always had to be financed by somebody anyway. He's broke. He's just smart.
Yeah. Eventually we'll come around to it. But, I do appreciate you guys jumping in on this and doing the MCU conversation. Alex, any final thoughts or anything on this?
No, it's interesting. It was good to dive into it. Like, it's a cool thought experiment of like what it would be like living in that universe. And I would definitely not want to be a normal person in the MCU.
No.
Yeah, that's my takeaway.
It is not a good idea. There's nothing really positive that comes of it. The risk of death is so much higher.
So high.
From everything.
So high. How do you plan anything?
You can't.
You can't.
I wouldn't want to work in technology because the technology that reigns supreme is, again, either coming from a brilliant hero or a brilliant villain. And at one point, the bill's going to come due.
Yeah.
If you're working there, we'll see what happens. But I mean, even the people who like scoop the ice cream at the Stark Fair Expo thing, Probably
I
once
can't
it
even
happens.
imagine. I can't even imagine being a normal person in the MCU. It's so hard. It's such a
Just trying
hard
to
life. It's harder
just trying
than
to
real
go
life.
out shopping, and you don't even know what's going to happen when you go shopping. You could get mugged.
The Green
Or you
Goblin
could
just
have.
flies by and tosses. Just like that's
You
it.
never know.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, it's crazy. And maybe Daredevil will decide to step down if you're in Hell's Kitchen and help you out, but you never know.
Oh my god.
It's
Yeah,
definitely
you don't know
exciting.
who's going to show up because you could also have the
Exactly.
Punisher show up and everything gets blown up around you.
Yeah.
You might wind up like losing a leg, and he's like, "I saved you," and then like,
Collateral damage.
yeah,
You're just screwed. But I want to thank you so much, very much for thank you very much so much for being
that's
on
the
tonight, Alex.
Tuesday effect.
So it is this Tuesday. Thank you for being on the show, my friend. Everybody, remember,
Absolutely.
2 Day in Space podcast. You've heard it here first. Make sure you get over there, or maybe you haven't. You probably have heard of it because it was a very good show. Make sure you go check it out. It is awesome. You're going to learn a lot of stuff. And we thank you so much for always coming on the show and
Yeah.
being our
Fun, man.
science guy.
It's an absolute pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much, my good man.
Pleasure being on as always, guys.
And anytime you want to come back and talk MCU, you let us know, and we will have
Sick.
you. Absolutely.
That sounds great. That sounds great.
And remember,
Remember.
Sex in Space is coming.
It's Sex in Space. It's here.
It's here.
It's here.
Jeff Bezos is putting up orbital reef in orbit. Guaranteed that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put Shatner in space and not expect somebody to get laid.
I mean, I think Shatner had an experience by him. He just needed himself. I think you saw his face up there.
He laid himself.
He had a moment.
And
Let's just say it came in very handy. Oh,
No hands.
All right.
No hands.
All right, sir. Thank you so much again for popping on tonight.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
We're going to say goodnight to you, sir. And then, guys, a few announcements, and then we are going to take off too. All right. Take care, buddy. I feel bad. I never do well with that. I never do well with the transition.
Well, because we never want to say goodbye.
Listen,
we want to hang out. We want to be like, hey, friend, thank you. Because I was.
I feel like it feels like being shirtless on screen. It's just something not right about it. Yes, AJ said it. That's what we're gonna call it. Space sex.
Space sex. Woo!
It's gonna be amazing. It is always fun having Alex on the show, and we have a good time with him.
Absolute blast.
I will say this: there is, when it comes down to space and movies,
or it comes up to space,
it's going to take a long. Yeah, that's true. It's going to take a long time before we see something that's going to be defined as great. Mm-hmm. I think we might see some stuff that kind of sparks our interest, or even if Tom Cruise does happen to go up there and shoot a movie, it's going to be something interesting. But overall, in our lifetime, I don't see Moonraker being remade up there with the new James Bond.
I firstly super hope that happens because I want that in the worst way. Look, Tom Cruise going up could be one of two things. It could be super gimmicky, kind of like, 3D movies. They have their place. Some people find it interesting. They love it. They dig it. It's their shtick. I'm not one of those people, so I understand. I think space movies could have a niche. Space porn's definitely going to have a niche.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be somebody turned on by that.
Tons of people. So there's
it's going to be weird, but whatever. Zero G.
Not really humping.
Come join my OnlyFans for Zero G. For
Welcome
0 G a month.
To my Zero G slow grind channel.
There's not a human being on this planet that wouldn't buy some sort of. It'd be. I hate to say this, but it would be like the Pam and Tommy tape.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody would not want to see what that's like.
100%.
And I realize that's topical because of the TV show and there's a lot of controversy over it. But we were in the 90s and we remember when you heard about that tape, you were like, everybody must see this now.
There was this a strange herd of people rushing to their local video stores or wherever they could find it. I mean, that was also, we had interwebs back then.
We did. That's where it was
That
sold.
was-
It was sold on the
Yep.
interwebs.
Yep,
and
that was way back in the day. Well, I think
Oh.
AOL still had discs.
Oh my god, it was so rough. Thank God we're at where we're at now. Aliens.
Zero Orgy. I love that one.
All right. I think we're a zero G guy.
Zero Orgy.
Zero origin. All right, I'm getting there. I'm a little slow. Like you said it, and then I start reading it, and I'm like, I don't know. Capitalize the O because then I'll know it's a different word.
I love it. AJ nailed it.
I'm very slow to the punch. But all right. Guys, thank you very much for watching and listening. Make sure if you like this video, hit the like button. Check out our channel. Hit the subscribe button. We're going to see a lot of stuff coming out very soon. New trailers, new movies, stuff like that. So we're going to be doing reviews. We're going to be doing trailer reactions. That and so much more. If you want updates on anything that's going on, Geek or movie news, TV news, stuff like that, make sure you're following us on social media. You check it out all out and more over on thescenesnobs.com. Join us for the conversation over on the Discord. We're having plenty of fun, geeky stuff going on. That's right. AJ is one of our moderators. Join the Discord. Make sure you head over. We're having some fun conversations. We're getting ready to start doing some watch parties. I've kind of got something in the works now. I don't want to announce anything until I can make it happen. But make sure you're doing that. If you are a fan and you want to join the Patreon, you do get exclusive stuff and you do monthly giveaways, gifts, stuff like that. So there's just plenty of stuff to do. We have lots to do here.
We like to keep you busy. We like to keep you interested. We like to keep you entertained because the world outside is dumb and scary. So come hang out with us and have fun and embrace the absurdity for a little while.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. So thanks, everybody. Go check out thescenesnobs.com. Links in the bio. So it links down below or whatever. Have some fun with it. Join up on all the stuff we got going on and become part of the Snobs Nation. All right, everybody. Until next time, I'm Mick Manhattan.
I'm the Madman. Love yourself and be kind to each other.
And we will talk to you later. Bye. Thanks for watching and listening, everybody. I'm the Scene Snob, Mick Manhattan. You can check out the Scene Snobs podcast live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel or all podcast platforms afterwards. Also on our YouTube channel, you can check out great shows like Real Combat, the ultimate debate show for movie lovers, mixed movie picks with new recommendations every week, Geek Fest live every Sunday night, and new movie reviews and news all the time. Like and subscribe, then hit the notification bell so you know when all of our new episodes drop. Thank you so much to all of our amazing Patreon supporters, with whom this would not be possible. They help keep the lights on and support us in such big ways. If you would like to become a supporter on our Patreon and take advantage of all the perks like monthly giveaways, early access, and so much more, head on over to the Scene Snobs Patreon page and just sign up on one of our 2 tiers. Join our awesome community of geeks, movie lovers, and so much more, and join up on our Discord. The Scene Snobs Discord is now live, and you can head over to thescenesnobs.com for links to there and more. The Scene Snobs merch store is now open with original fun designs that are available on all different types of merch and apparel. Check out thescenesnobsmerch.com. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to all of our social media accounts like TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and so many more. We have fun updates, topics, we talk about collectibles, and so much more on there. It's a great time. You can find all of our links to everything on thescenesnobs.com or on our link tree, which are down in the descriptions below. Thanks again, everyone. Stay tuned and stay geeky.
Good night, everyone.